There is someone you haven't spoken to in months, maybe years, and yet, right now, without any warning, their face just appeared in your mind. Not because you wanted it to, not because you chose it, it just happened. And that's the part nobody talks about. The thinking doesn't stop, even when you desperately want it to. You have tried everything. You deleted the photos, you blocked the number, you told yourself you were over it. And then you're standing in the shower at 11 p.m., replaying a conversation that ended 2 years ago, wondering what you should have said differently. Why does your brain do this? Why does it keep returning to someone who hurt you? The answer is far stranger than heartbreak. It lives somewhere between evolutionary biology, neuroscience, and a survival mechanism your brain never updated. Here's where it starts. Your brain does not process social rejection the way you think it does. It doesn't file it under emotional experience. It files it under threat to survival. Researcher Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA ran a study in the early 2000s where participants were excluded from a virtual ball-tossing game. A simple, painless digital experience. When she scanned their brains afterward, the same regions that light up during physical pain had activated. Not similar regions, the same ones. Social rejection and a broken arm share neural real estate. Your brain at its deepest level cannot fully distinguish between the two. This is why the thoughts won't stop. When you are in physical pain, your brain obsesses over the source of that pain. It catalogs it. It replays the moment you touch the hot stove. It keeps the memory vivid and near the surface, because that information might save your life next time. Pain is a teacher, and your brain is a diligent student. It treats the person who hurt you the exact same way. The obsessive replaying is not weakness. It is your threat response system doing exactly what it evolved to do. But evolution doesn't care that you already know the lesson. It doesn't know that you've learned it. It just keeps teaching. Psychiatrist John Bowlby spent decades studying what he called attachment theory, the idea that human beings are hardwired to form deep bonds, and that the severing of those bonds triggers a predictable cascade of psychological responses. Bowlby wasn't just talking about romantic relationships, he was talking about any bond your nervous system decided was important for your survival. A parent, a best friend, a person you loved. When that bond is broken, particularly when it's broken with pain or betrayal, your nervous system enters what Bowlby described as a protest phase. And in the protest phase, your brain does something specific. It locks the person in. Think of it like this. Your brain is running a search function. It lost something it categorized as essential. So it keeps running the search. It keeps pulling up images, memories, conversations, all looking for something. Resolution, explanation, closure, a way to make the math add up. The thoughts aren't about the person anymore. They're about the unfinished equation. And human brains hate unfinished equations. Psychologist Bluma Zygarnik documented this in the 1920s after noticing something strange about waiters in a Vienna cafe. The waiters had near-perfect recall of every order they hadn't yet delivered. But the moment a meal reached the table, the moment the task was complete, the information vanished from their memory almost immediately. Zygarnik ran experiments confirming this. Unfinished tasks are held in active working memory. Completed ones are filed away and forgotten. The brain treats incomplete things as urgent. It keeps them warm, accessible, present. A relationship that ended without resolution, especially one that ended with pain or confusion or unanswered questions, is an uncompleted task. And your brain is a waiter who never got to deliver that last order. It keeps the ticket open. It keeps reviewing it. It cannot let go until the task is resolved. And the brutal truth is that some tasks never get resolved. Some people never give you the closure you need. Some conversations never happen. And so the brain keeps the ticket open indefinitely, and the thoughts keep coming. Now here is where it gets darker. The person who hurt you didn't just leave a wound. They left a chemical signature. When you were bonded to someone, when you spent time with them, laughed with them, needed them, your brain was releasing dopamine. It was releasing oxytocin. These are not minor chemicals. Dopamine is the same neurotransmitter activated by cocaine. Oxytocin is the same bonding molecule released between a mother and a newborn. Your brain spent months or years building up a biochemical association between that person and profound neurological reward. And then the reward stopped. Suddenly, painfully, without warning. What happens to a brain when a dopamine source is suddenly removed? The same thing that happens to any brain when a substance it depended on disappears. It craves. It seeks. It thinks about the source constantly. Not because you are weak or broken, because the withdrawal is real. The neuroscience of heartbreak and the neuroscience of addiction overlap in ways that should make every person who has ever obsessively thought about an ex feel significantly less embarrassed. Helen Fisher, a biological anthropologist at Rutgers University, put recently rejected lovers inside fMRI machines and showed them photos of the people who had left them. The results were striking. The reward centers of their brains lit up. The same regions activated when addicts are shown images of their drug of choice. The craving brain and the heartbroken brain are doing the same thing, looking for the thing that made them feel okay, scanning the environment for a return to the reward. But here is something Fisher also found that most people never talk about. When she showed those same people neutral photos, strangers, random faces, the areas of the brain associated with controlling strong emotions, with suppression and regulation, activated strongly. The heartbroken brain wasn't just craving, it was simultaneously working overtime to suppress that craving. Your brain is in a constant internal war. Half of it is pulling you toward the memory. Half of it is trying to drag you away. And you are caught in the middle, exhausted, wondering why you can't just stop. You can't stop because both sides of the war are you. There is another piece here, one that reaches back further than any of this, further than romantic love, further than modern psychology, further than civilization. Your ancestors lived in groups, small, tight, interdependent groups where belonging was not a comfort, it was a survival requirement. Being expelled from the group meant death, exposure to predators, no access to food or shelter. The fear of social rejection your brain carries is not a modern sensitivity. It is an ancient alarm, honed over hundreds of thousands of years, calibrated to treat the loss of any important bond as a signal that your life might be in danger. The person who hurt you wasn't just someone you cared about. At a neurological level, your brain had classified them as part of the safety structure of your world. When that safety structure collapsed, your nervous system responded the way it evolved to respond. With vigilance, with obsessive monitoring, with constant return to the threat, looking for a way to restore what was lost or to understand why it's gone. This is why thinking about someone who hurt you feels so involuntary. Because it is. You are not choosing to think about them. Your threat detection system is running without your permission, doing what it has always done, what it was built to do. It is trying to protect you. It just doesn't know that this particular danger has passed. It doesn't know that you are safe now. It has no mechanism for receiving that information unless you give it to your body, slowly, over time. And this is the part that actually helps. The thoughts do not stop when you try harder to suppress them. Every study on thought suppression shows the opposite effect. The famous white bear experiment by Daniel Wegner demonstrated that when people are told not to think of a white bear, they think of white bear almost constantly. Suppression feeds the very thing you are trying to kill. The thoughts don't stop through force. They stop through completion. Your brain needs the equation to close. Completion doesn't always come from the person who hurt you. It often can't, but it can come from your own understanding. From the moment you stop asking what you did wrong and start understanding what your brain is doing and why. From the moment the mystery of the thoughts themselves is solved, the obsessive return loses some of its power. The open ticket begins to close. The moment you understand that the thinking is not a sign that you still love them, or that you need them, or that you are broken in some way, but that it is a neurological process as automatic as a fever response, as ancient as the first human who ever lost someone. Something shifts. Not immediately, not completely, but it shifts. Tonight at 11 p.m., when you're standing in the shower and their face appears without warning, you will know what is actually happening. Your brain is running an old search. It is doing its job. And maybe, just for a moment, you can tell it, The search is over. You already know what you need to know. You are safe now. That's the sentence your brain has been waiting for. Not from them, from you.